and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are here on another Wednesday night. So you know what that means. It's the Bold Prediction Sports Media Podcast. I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC from the A13, and we're coming at you with NFL Week 2 action, as well as a few betting lines here to coincide with some of that betting. I mean, sorry, I said betting action with that NFL action with some betting action. Mr. KC, what's going on, my man?
Oh, not too much. Hanging out, getting ready for these exciting picks. Excited for this is episode number 60, folks. We've been cooking with grease for a little while. That week one action was pretty nice. We're excited. It was a wild opening week, and we're excited for week two.
Man, wild to say the least. A lot of games didn't go the way that I thought they was gonna go. So good night, especially that Cowboy game. That was something totally unexpected. But it just goes to show
Oof.
how real that Dallas defense is. It's right up there with that Jets defense. I think they're almost neck and neck. Both pretty dangerous, but I'm sure we'll get more on that as we get closer to talking about these Cowboys. Mr. KC, anything stood out for you week one, especially?
Yeah, what really stood out to me is normally when I think of football and these powerhouse teams, you think of the AFC. But if you really look at this last weekend, it was a lot of NFC teams with that heat, really kind of standing out. You can look at that Cowboys game that we were just talking about, but look what the Bucks were doing. Look at if you look what the 49ers managed to do against the Steelers, like
Man.
it was a NFC show out, really. It was pretty wild to see.
Yeah, a lot of teams had their Super Bowl week one. And now that the hurrah is out the way, I believe the dust will start to settle, and we'll really see here what's going to happen here. Surprising loss for the Seahawks too, but we'll talk about that
Yeah,
also.
well, really, the Rams trying to say they're still around. Like, what are you talking about rebuilding? This might just be our division. That might be the team we just swung and missed on. Both combined, just could not see coming type deal. Maybe still
Maybe
just week one.
right, and they did this to me before, and I'm not willing to go down that road again. I've learned my lessons when talking about the Rams, but let's go ahead and dive on into it, shall we? Who we got week one action? Who's in the Jeff Bezos Bowl this week?
Well, this week we're starting out Vikings at Eagles. And the Eagles are heavy favorites, a 6.5 point favorite in this game with a minus 275, but a plus 220 if you're picking the Vikings to win.
And I'm not surprised that the Eagles are the favorite, especially after the way the Vikings looked in week one. Um, really, when it comes down to this game, are the Eagles going to lose at home? Prime time? Probably not. I'm going to go with the Eagles in this game. I think Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, unless Justin Jefferson has an all time type game, which I don't think will happen, it's the only way I can see the Vikings winning this early against a team like this. I think they need a little more time to make sure things get rolling before they can become formidable. And it'll take a little bit longer for the Eagles. Inevitable slide. I'm still thinking they're not going to make the playoffs, but some of these teams they should beat handily. And the Vikings might just be one of them.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. And our man Ray, shout out Ray. It's been a while. We ain't seen you. Welcome back to week
Shout
two.
out, Ray.
He's also
Hmm.
going with the Eagles. That's a nice trifecta for us. Uh,
First
the
of the year.
Eagles, I mean, the only way you're really trying to pick the Vikings is if maybe you're trying to pick that 6.5 point spread and, to say, hey, if you're giving me a whole touchdown, I think we can keep it within that kind of time frame.
Right. But that's wishful thinking in this kind of situation. I guess this Eagles defense, like I said, it's just the Vikings haven't gotten back to their explosive ways yet. So Eagles are going to win this game.
Yeah.
If you got a
But I,
few
I
dollars, I'd put a few dollars on it. But I mean, you're not going to make too much, but something's better than nothing.
yeah, that feels like a pretty safe return. All right, the next game on the schedule is going to be a kind of an easy one, in my opinion. Is the Chargers versus Titans,
Oh
and
yeah,
that, and that's going to be only a 3-point favorite for the Chargers, which is kind of surprising.
which is surprising because I mean I know they lost week one, but I mean they barely lost. It took a phenomenal effort from Tyreek Hill to get that win, but he's always had the Chargers number a little bit. So, I mean that's just what it is. Years from playing them, or years of playing them. But in this game, the Chargers bounce back. They're going to beat the Titans. It's Ryan Tannehill. It's the Tennessee Titans. I don't know what else to say about that, Mister
Yeah,
KC.
I'm right there with you. I think you've nailed it right on the head with that one. It's really hard to pick Tennessee in this one, but we do have an upset alert because
Ooh,
Our boy Ray, is going with Tennessee. He believes he's got faith in what they did. Look, it's a feisty team. They got a solid defense, so never count the Titans out. They're gonna play teams tough. The
I'm
Chargers have a
counting them
stacked
out.
team.
I'm counting them out. They are donezo.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I'd almost feel comfortable if I was the Chargers. I mean, with just minus 150, I'd probably just stay that. But you get pretty much even money with a +3, so it might be something to think about. Being able to willing to spot the Titans 3 even.
man, that's how they're gonna have to get it.
Yeah, we have another banger on the list. This one should be kind of interesting in my opinion. And that is going to be the Packers versus the Falcons.
And this game here is a game that the Packers will win. The Falcons still are going through a little bit of growing pains, but still becoming formidable. The Packers are just going to roll this thing, though. I think, like I said, Jordan Love has already had continuity with the team. He's already come out and got the first dub of the season. Like I told you, Mr. Case, I told you, the jury was still out on Jordan Love. It's still kind of out, but it's starting to nudge us in the direction where I think he's going. So I'm going with the Pack in this game here.
He did nudge against the direction that I had suggested that he was going to go. You know, on this show, we are not afraid to eat crow. And I almost have to give props to Jordan Love for that performance. However, I am going to point out it was against the Chicago Bears, who apparently are still just the Chicago Bears and not the team that we hyped them up to be this offseason. So not only was I wrong about the Bears, I'm probably
Mhm.
wrong about Jordan Love too. That's the way it works sometimes. But in this game, I'm sticking to my gut. I'm sticking with Atlanta. I picked them in the off season. I'm sticking with my pick on this one. Let's go Falcons. Let's go Dirty Birds. There was a lot of points left on the board last week. Clean it up, score them points, hit Pitts. He's open. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Get out there, Falcons. Let's do it.
yeah. I would like to see it. I think Ritter still has a chance to become something good, especially for the Falcons this season. But Jordan Love is about to have these guys rolling. They seem just a level of excitement in the Packers locker room that they haven't felt maybe since Brett Favre was there. Who knows?
Yeah, and I really didn't think Ritter was going to be that guy, but I was really hoping he'd be the one to prove me wrong and not Jordan Love. Like like it's the wrong, bad child advice. I want to give shout out to Ray again. He's got Green Bay in this one. He's filling you with the Packers and really with that performance against the Bears. Not a tough, not a bad pick, I'd say.
Not at all.
Ooh, this is a fun one. We just absolutely love garbage games just to talk about them. It's one of our favorite things to do. We have the Colts at Texans.
Ooh,
Colts or the Texans are going to be, or the Colts are slightly favored with a 1.5, with a minus 125 on the road against the Texans. So that's really kind of like a 3-point advantage. So they're really kind of leaning the Colts on this one. And I'm actually going against my preseason pick and going with the Texans on this one. I think the Texans are going to win this game.
I'm still there too. I still think the Texans will win this game as well. I still ain't seen too much from the Colts quarterback yet. What's the
Mm,
name? Richardson.
yeah,
Um, I, the Texans are going to win this game. I believe their offense will be clicking better than what the Colts can produce. And like I said, they got turmoil, even though it's not all the way out there in the media like it usually is, but it's still in their front office, especially with the running back situation and the comments from Mercer and stuff like there's still tension there, and I think it still reflects on the football. Anytime you got a bad front office, inevitably it shows up on the field. But the Texans, they're primed to win this game. They need to win this game, and so,
yeah,
so a certain Ohio State quarterback can get a win. So a certain teacher who may be watching or may not be watching can understand what it's like. So we both got the Texans. Let's do it. The
yeah.
Houston,
And
or we
it's
call them the Houston Texans.
yeah, it's going to be the Houston Texans this week. Shout out Teacher Talking Sports, another YouTuber with a great channel.
Great
And
channel.
Ray's also going with Houston. So we got a
Another
nice trifecta in
trifecta.
there. You
Another
know
one.
that one's hidden.
Man.
Let me see. What's the next one on the list? Ooh, another. This one's kind of an interesting game. And it is going to be the Seahawks at Detroit, the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are a 5.5 point spread favorite in this one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with the Seahawks in this game. They lost, like I said, we were talking about it momentarily. They lost week one. Um, it was just an overall effort, I think, situation going on there. I think Pete Carroll gets in them. They rebound week two, and they beat a Lions team who barely scraped by the best team in the world without a few of their key players. So I don't know how much higher Detroit ceiling is when you gave your gusto and your Super Bowl all in week one. What do you got left for week two for another
Mm.
Hall of Fame esque coach coming in, with viable talent? I'm going with the Seahawks in this game over the Lions, Mr. Casey.
Yeah, and Ray's actually going to go with the Lions. And as the resident Lions fan here, it's a really nice pick when I go with Seattle over the Lions because that means I don't have faith in this one. I truly don't see it for the Lions to have the defense to stop what has going on. It's
Right.
easier to stop Kansas City when Travis Kelsey's out the game and not
Everybody's
everything's
dropping
clicking
passes.
right. Yeah, and everybody's dropping passes. Not forget, you take away those drops and turn those into conversions like a regular wide receiver core would have. That's a slaughterhouse.
But at the end of
So
the day, the Lions won. We're not making excuses. These are just
yeah,
obvious facts. But shout out to y'all. Y'all won. Special plays. Great job. But
yeah,
you're
but
losing this weekend for sure.
yeah, and I'm right there with you. And I think you know, the negative or the minus 5.5 lets you know that they want you to think that the Lions can win by 6 or more. But that's also with the 3 point home advantage. So they even are really kind of hinting at a -3. But the interesting is it's a -225 on the money line. So that tells you that the Lions are heavily betted too. Watch Seattle pull this one out pretty easily. I like that plus 185 money on the money line for Seattle. That's that line is pretty wild.
Yeah, it is
Uh,
pretty wild. And like I said, and it's ripe for the picking, in my opinion.
mhm.
Rightfully so,
Yeah.
like a hawk would do.
All right, back to garbage bowl time. We've got the Bears versus the Buccaneers. Ooh, what an exciting game on this one. Bears Bucks.
And this thing has such garbage fire written over it. It almost sways me from making my original choice. I thought this would be a game that the Bears would just absolutely roll in, but if the Buccaneers can muster anything like what they did last week, and the Bears showing us what they showed us, you almost are tempted to go with Tampa Bay. And honestly, I'm probably going to do it this week. Tampa Bay, you're probably going to get this win. I like the Bears. I like everything they have as far as ceiling, the way the talent is going. But as of right now, uh, Buccaneers are just more well oiled, I would say. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Yeah, look, we both kind of preseason kind of counted these Bucks teams out, and I got lucky last week with the Bucks because I kind of talked myself into that pick, and it just happened to hit, and I kind of, I've been a Baker fan for a while, and we've been waiting for him to hit, and he's not that bad. Look, serviceable, and that might actually be what it takes for Tampa Bay to win. And if you ask our boy Ray, he believes it too. He's going to Tampa Bay. So it's
Man,
pretty interesting. We nice little trifecta there too.
another one.
Yeah,
Goodness.
it's hard to see the Bears pull up that kind of performance last week against the Packers, who I'm still not. It was not impressive to me at all. Even the only nice thing for the Bears was DJ Moore, and you got to get it to him. They need a game plan for him most of the game. I think.
Right. No,
I
I
think
don't. I
Phil
don't
just
doubt
needs
it.
to get used to throwing the ball more too. He just
Yeah.
got to learn to throw it. Throw the ball. I understand they're sacking you, but throw the ball.
Hey. Hmm. That's like
Right.
to say, hey, I don't know. It's not looking good. Buccaneers. That's all I can say on
Whoa.
that.
This is a lopsided game. This next one is a
Oh,
lopsided, kind
potential
of an
upset alert.
interesting one. We might have one here. We have the Raiders versus the Bills, and they are giving the
Oh,
Bills 9.5 points.
I'm going with the Raiders. The
It's supposed
Bills,
to be a plus 10. Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord, you're telling me you'll give me even money for plus 10 for the Raiders? The Raiders are getting within 10. I promise you, win, lose, or draw, the Raiders are getting within 10 against the Bills.
dude, the Bills just showed that they can't beat the Jets with
The
Zach
Jets
Wilson, even though the Jets has a phenomenal defense. But you know me, I've always been a little higher on Zach Wilson than you. I'm not as low as most people is on him. There's just no way though, in my mind, especially what the Bills are putting together and the way Josh Allen's playing, he's not gonna beat Jimmy G. Not Jimmy G and these Raiders. I just don't think so.
Yeah, look, the what the Raiders did against the Broncos wasn't crazy impressive, but let's not discount something here. The Broncos defense is much better than what the Bills have. So
Hmm.
if we start talking parity there, this
Hmm.
is an easier defense against maybe an equivalent offense. Look,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe like here's Josh Allen is better than Russell Wilson. But was that performance
Yeah.
tons better? Was it just light years better? I
No.
don't know. Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in this game.
True.
Jimmy Garoppolo looked serviceable. He looked okay. He looked
He's a
okay in that
champion.
game.
He's a
Yeah.
champion, and he's a proven winner.
I'm still going to pick the Bills because fuck the Raiders. We've made it this far in the podcast, so I can say something like that. I just can't. I'm not picking the Raiders for nothing. So I'm going
I
to pick the Bills.
understand.
But
This
I would bet the Raiders plus 9.5 because I don't think it's that far of a part of a game.
this is week two of me picking the Raiders to win.
I know 2 weeks in a row. Hey, you got
Two
them right
weeks in a
last week
row.
though.
Hey, remember though, last year I thought they could have been the one that the Chargers was supposed to be, but they just couldn't hold on. So
There's,
we'll see.
they did
The
better than
battle
I
for
thought they were
second
going
place is
to.
on.
Oh, hometown favorite here. Kansas City Chiefs go to
Oh, that's a
Jacksonville
win.
Jaguars in a game that I thought about traveling to, but I did not.
I would say might as well if you got the time. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt. You know where I'm going with this pick. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game. They'll be back in full effect. Travis Kelsey will play. I seen him at practice today, all giddy, hopping around because his buddy's back.
His
Uh,
buddy is back.
we'll have more consistent pressure, and the D line, for all intents and purposes, they looked great to me
Not to
against
me.
the Lions, dude. What?
Not
The
to me.
pressure was there. They
What
got enough
pressure?
sacks. What do you mean?
One sack. That's one sack is not enough sacks.
What are you talking about? Just one? You sure it was just one?
One sack.
You sure it was just one?
Yeah. One
I think
sack.
it was more than one.
Four, they only hit him
I have
four
to go
times.
back. Okay,
They
well,
only
quarterback hit. That's good enough. That's good enough for the Lions. But I'm just gonna. I was saying that to say that it should be bolstered now since Chris Jones is back in the middle.
it'll be
So everything should be everything at this point, and it'll
yeah.
speed up and free up more Spagnuolo's blitzes. And like I said, we got pressure. Let's like act like it was non-existent. We definitely still could have won that game.
I think it
Uh,
was only I think they only counted like 10 pressures on the whole game versus the Lions. I think it was like 25 to 30 or something like that. It was pretty lopsided. The pressure
yeah,
rate was ridiculous.
that's what they put on there.
Yeah.
I had to see, those intangible numbers that they try to be posting really doesn't mean nothing at the end of the day, especially
Yeah.
as far as the sanctity of winning the game. Um, but no, I
Well,
mean, some people
and
would argue it does. For some people,
Patrick moves a lot, so it's
right.
pressures don't really they got more hits on him too, which kind of bothered me, but
I
it
mean, but
wasn't
when he was running and sliding and doing everything he was
right.
doing, it comes along with the turn. So it's just like, yeah, those are stats, but it's like they're gimme stats. It's like, here you go.
Yeah, some of them, but it was still the ratio was still such a lopsided one that it was kind of disappointing to me. The Lions do have a great offensive line, and so do the Chiefs. So I kind of washed that out. I know a lot of people when I had the discussion about it, they were like, "Well, the Lions have a great line," and I'm like, "Well, so do we." And they still are getting there. Ray
Right.
is going with the upset of Jacksonville. Shout out Florida. Shout out Duval. Uh, I don't know how you're going to pick the Jags. We've seen this matchup. One's a king, one's a prince, but we'll see after Sunday.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I think the Jags they'll put on a good game. They'll be formidable. They won't
Hmm.
lay down. Like I said, I still think they'll be one of the top highest scoring offenses in the league by the end of the year. Um, but they're not going to beat Kansas City. It's it's time for us to get rolling. It's time for the repeat. Uh, it's just time. There's just no other way to put it. Kansas City by 30.
The next
Exaggeration, folks.
the next game on the list is what I'm going to call the most disrespectful game of the whole weekend. This next one doesn't make no sense to me. We have the Ravens at Cincinnati, with Cincinnati favored by 3.5 points.
They talking about the Cincinnati Bengals,
The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens.
who've already bangled in week one.
They bangled it up. Completely bangled is about as bangly as you can get in the last couple of years.
Man, and listening to you, I talked myself out of just believing that the Bengals was going to bingle because of the benefit of Joe Burrow. But you know what? Even with Joe Burrow, the Bengals are going to bingle for a certain amount of time during the season. And this is another one of those times. The Bengals are going to bingle. They're going to lose this game.
Yeah,
Big
and
trust.
the wildest part is the craziest part with the Bengals is we are now in year what 4 or 5 of Joe not having anything that looks like an offensive line.
Year three,
Nothing,
yeah.
nothing
No,
to the
four,
sorts
yeah.
of an offensive line. I'm gonna shout out our boy Ray, who is also hitting the trifecta with us. He's going Baltimore. I'm going Baltimore. Dude with a beard is going with Baltimore. This is the most disrespectful game on the weekend, and I might personally hammer this one a little hard. The money line is plus 145 for the Ravens. So every $100 you bet, you will win $145 or
Mm-hmm.
245, including your money back. So
Exactly.
keep an eye out on that one. That one's got a star next to it for me. This next one's got me nervous. This this game really has me nervous. It is the Giants versus the Cardinals in Arizona. Why am
Oh
I
yeah.
nervous?
Why are you nervous? What's going on?
Well, the Cardinals look like they could play a little football, a little bit of football.
The Cardinals do. Arizona? You sure?
Yeah, yeah. Dobbs, this quarterback, he looked like he might have been Kyler Murray. If you didn't know Kyler Murray was missing, it was probably equivalent play. Like he was doing okay. They didn't win. They didn't win versus the Commanders, but they stayed way more competitive than that game should have ever been. And they moved the ball. And you know what made me nervous? The Giants didn't do none of that. None of that last week.
No, they didn't. But they just ran into a steel curtain, it seemed like. But that's a whole different beast.
Another
Uh,
wild fact. I don't know if this is true or not. I shouldn't say fact. This was a meme. I read a meme, and it said the last 5 years the Giants have started off 0-2. So that also made me nervous because this seems very New York Giant-y to lose to the Arizona Cardinals. Uh, Teacher Talking in Sports, another YouTuber, he's a Giants fan, and he said he's throwing in the white towel if they lose this game. So I'm gonna just root for the Giants and hope for the best. But Ray is spotting the upset, that Arizona upset.
yeah, I'm going still with my boy Vanilla Vic. It's still the Cardinals. I think they'll muster up a win against them.
They
Uh,
really need to. They should. But
Jalen
I
Hyatt should be getting more involved with the offense. It should go off.
they were right there with it with the Commanders. They really were. That one's scary. Ray might have that upset. That's going to be a plus 200 upset for Ray. So if he bet $100, he'd walk away with 300, take his money back plus $200. So that's always nice. Those are the kind of games you want to highlight on your betting sheet. If you spot those upsets, those are the ones you kind of want to focus on.
Yeah, only if you really think the Cards can get it done. If it wasn't Arizona, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's my problem with it. There's a whole lot of Arizona in that situation, and that just creates all sorts of problems for me.
Oh yeah, doesn't seem real gianty for them to lose though.
And this next one is going to be more of a game than the spread and the points talk about. We have the Niners versus the Rams. Shout out Frank with Cinema Store Podcast. We have the Niners at the Rams.
And at this point here, I'm just gonna go with the Niners in this game because I still don't think the Rams are back, even though they won last week. Um, if somehow they can shock me and win this weekend, then we might talk about it. Maybe they're returning to form or some kind of form. But at this point, I'm confident enough in the 49ers, just got enough to get the win.
And so is Vegas. They have them at a 8.5 point favorite. So the
Oh,
Niners need 9 points to cover the spread. Minus one or 375 on the money line. So you really, if you're going to bet the Niners, I would look for an alternative spread with like a 6 point. Kind of cut it there in the middle. I wouldn't want to go over six on that. The Rams were really, I'm picking the Niners, but the Rams they showed out versus Seattle. And Ray's also going with San Francisco. So we got another trifecta. Keep an eye out on that game. I'd probably just not even bet that game just because I'd want another week to kind of scout the Rams and see what we're really getting this year.
give a proper assessment. I understand.
Yeah, because I expected trash, and that's not what they delivered.
Hmm.
Mm, mm. Talk about another. The Vegas is talking about some blowouts this week. The next game on the list is Jets versus Cowboys. They're giving the Cowboys or the Jets, they're giving them 9.5 point spread. So the
Oof,
Cowboys got to win by at least 10 to cover the spread.
good night.
Jeez.
Uh, Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys in this game. The Jets defense is good, it's great, it's stifling, but you can say literally all of that about the Cowboys defense. And on top of that, they have an offense that's light years better than what Detroit, than what the Jets can produce right now, especially since the house that you betted on has crumbled. So it's to the point where the Jets are just fighting to stay alive. But I'm going with the boys.
I don't know. This one's messing with me. This one makes me almost want to just mess around and pick the Jets because I feel like if Dallas loses this game, Dak Prescott will never be on another top 10 list ever again in his life, and nor does he deserve it. So I, I can't do
Doesn't
it. It's going
deserve
to be
it.
Dallas. I'm going Dallas because it's just obvious. And so is Ray. We got another
And I
trifecta
was about
there.
to say, because at the end of the day, if Dak's not on there, you better make sure Josh Allen nowhere near it. That's all I got to say about that. Um, what we got next on the slate?
The next one on the slate is a favorite one for us to talk about. It is the Commanders versus the Broncos. And I like this one. This is another potential upset alert because they have the Broncos favored to -3.5
They're just
at
giving away
home.
money.
So they're really calling this kind of a split. You get a plus 150 on the money line for picking the Commanders.
They're just giving away money. The
Mm,
Commanders, they're gonna beat Denver. Like I said, this is the Broncos we're talking about. Like I don't know what people thought was gonna happen. The boy, what's his name? Sean McVay, Timothy McVay, whatever the boy name is, thought he
oh,
was gonna
Peyton.
come in. You're right. Oh, that's what it is. Peyton. I can't even remember the dude's name. He thought he
Mm.
was gonna come in and do something, and they're still garbage. It's gonna be the Denver Broncos trash fire collection as tradition. Russell Wilson is trash. The front office is trash. There's just nothing good about them. I'm sorry, Bronco fans, especially one of my dearest friends is a Bronco fan. I'm just so sorry that you're staking your life out for these Broncos when horses are not supposed to be playing football. They're only meant to be ridden.
Mm.
So this is why they're going to lose.
You know what the Commanders have to do to win this game, right? Score
Just
17
show up.
points.
Just show up.
17. That's the
17.
magic number. You score 17 points, you automatically beat Denver. Ray, we're trying to guide you in the right direction, but here you are picking the Broncos.
The offense, the one of the masterminds behind the offense that beat them 17 games in a row, or is it 17? I can't even remember. It's so many. He's
Ugh.
up there in Washington. You see what the offense look, man. They're about to anyway. Denver, yawn. Good night.
And Ray is saying he's just all his are straight picks, no points. He
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
like
no,
playing the
we got
spread,
it.
and I don't blame you. A lot of we generally look for money lines ourselves. Something about giving someone extra points, like if
Hmm.
I'm winning, I'm winning. If I'm losing,
Straight
I'm
up,
losing. Straight up.
exactly.
So I'm right there with you, Ray. That's how we prefer to usually bet ours too.
And
Every
the
once in a
Broncos are
while,
gonna straight up lose. I'm just
yeah, every
talking
once in a
straight up.
while, if I like picking a little spread a little every once in a while. If the money makes perfect sense. And the next one on the list, I'm excited about talking about this game. This is another Florida game. Actually,
Hmm.
it's in New England.
It's got to be his boys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about these Dolphins versus the Patriots. And they have the Dolphins is -3 favorites. -160 on the money line. Still decent money. That's a game worth betting.
It is because NFL knows it, LA knows it, Miami knows it, New England knows it, everybody knows it.
Yeah, we
The
all know it.
Patriots are winning this game.
Oh, what?
The New England Patriots are going to beat the Miami Dolphins. If we got to play rewind, you act like it didn't happen last year. under Pro Bowler Mike Jones. So
Mm.
they look great versus the Eagles in the loss. You lost to the best team in the NFC. I can't fault you for that. But it's not like you got blown out. The Eagles, the Patriots defense is so sneaky good. It's underrated. They're going to be just fine playing these Dolphins. It's not going to be a light show like it was last week.
Mm.
Mac Jones and the Patriots are going to win. Just watch and
All
see.
I'm saying is my boy 2K, Tyreek Hill, putting up these numbers looking like 2K might just be a thing. I mean, if you're going to have a 2,000-yard season, putting up 200 week one is a great way to start out.
Hmm.
We are now currently 10% of our goal, and we are working diligently to hopefully last 10 weeks with Tua to get there. And we we will be excited to see the Dolphins continue to win.
Yeah, I'm just not there with you. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just not there with you on that one, brother. Uh, better
You
coaching.
sticking with them?
Oh, I'm going with the Pats, man. What are you talking about? Always, Mac Jones and the Pats. They got it, and the world about to see it.
I mean,
Running
we'll get.
game is there. I'm telling you, it's about to go off. Tight
I'm not
ends
jumping.
playing good.
I'm not jumping ship till Tua does. I'm not doing it.
He said,
I'm
"I'm
right there.
doing it."
Oh,
All right
what
now.
a surprise garbage game on the list? It's the Saints versus the Panthers.
Yeah, and it's a surprise garbage game because the Saints they're overqualified to play the Panthers, just like a lot of teams in the NFL. Saints win this game handedly. There's pretty much nothing else to talk about as far as that goes.
I'm right there with you. I think the Saints win this game, but I think we might have overstated what Derek Carr is going to look like with down there. It's not
Just kicking the
quite.
tires.
It's not as quite as pretty as I liked. It wasn't. It wasn't smooth sailing down there. Ray's
No.
also going to go with New Orleans. He's a believer too. They're -3 favorites on the road. Versus Carolina, that feels like a pretty safe pick though.
I'm just saying, you got to kick the tires. They're just testing the tread on that thing, getting everything in motion, trying to make sure that the oil's good and everything. Get the machine rolling. The next thing you know, they're 12-5.
Yeah, and if I would have not picked the Panthers last week, my numbers would have looked just slightly even better. Like you can go check the tape, and it was a pretty good week. But if I would have just left that one alone, I would have been a little bit better of a week. It was an unnecessary gamble, and I apologize.
Unnecessary.
It was unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
We knew it. We talked about it
We
multiple
talked
times.
about it multiple. Thank you, sir. Multiple times.
Just didn't make no sense.
He said, "But I'm gonna stick with my guns. Put
Uh,
it down." Right. Oh goodness.
Sunday Night Football is a banger. It is the Browns versus the Steelers, and they have the Browns 2.5 point favorites.
I'm going with the Steelers in this game. The Browns still haven't shown me anything. Um, I I think last week was the ceiling of their capability, more than likely. Um, Steelers are just still in a better situation. Their team and the energy of that team just still says like, hey, we can win the North. So I'm going with the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna stick with you there. Preseason, we picked the Steelers. Ray is going with the Browns, which I mean they put up a killer week against the Bengals, which we thought would hand them pretty easily, and that was quite the opposite. But I feel better about the Steelers. What's real interesting is if you look at this line of -140 on a 2.5 point spread, it kind of tells me they're kind of trying to get some money onto the Brown side. I think with a +115 on the Steelers side, I think there's a lot of the public betting also on the Steelers on this game.
Hmm.
All right, Ray's heading out for the night. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Ray. You
Yes,
have a
sir.
safe one.
And we'll holler
Yeah,
at you
and
about them picks. Hmm.
Yeah, make sure you tune in next week so we can laugh at you for picking the Broncos.
For sure.
Yeah, that's whoa, what
You
is
said that was the Sunday night Steelers Brown? Yeah, Steelers got that.
oh, actually, I think that might be Monday night. I think it might be a doubleheader Monday, actually.
Oh,
Now
okay.
that
So
I'm looking at it. Yeah, so the Saints Panthers, how did that get Monday night? And Browns Steelers. How did Saints Panthers get a Monday night football game?
double header. Huh? So no Sunday night this week, huh? That's
Sunday
interesting.
night is Dolphins versus the Patriots.
Oh, Dolphins Miami. Okay, that's worthy. I like it.
Yeah.
Waiting all day to watch Mac Jones beat them Dolphins. Yeah, I can hear the song. Carrie Underwood singing to me right now. Yep.
Yeah, and it looks like I'm not going to miss too many important games watching the Chiefs versus Jags. Might keep an eye on the Ravens versus Bengals. And then in the afternoon, I always like to flip on Red Zone and just kind of keep an eye on everything.
Right. Really, I just want to see, yeah, the Sunday night. Got to see the Chiefs game. I'm gonna even watch the Giants play the Cardinals because I want to see how they bounce back and how good it looks. And I'll check out a snippet of that Commanders versus Broncos. That way, I can
Right.
see the debacle. Like, be enemy, keep going off, keep doing your thing, brother.
Yeah, and really, I mean that Rams Niners game and the Jets Cowboys game is going to be good. That's why I like the red zone, so I ain't got to miss any of them really. Yeah, you miss a little bit, but not too crazy much.
Right.
Yeah, because this one's kind of a hard one to really pick games from. I think you're right. You almost need to do the little first quarter here, second quarter there kind of deal. I mean,
Oh yeah,
there's
pick
some
and choose your
games.
battles in some of these games here, because I mean, we can go straight up with some of these money lines. Like I said, I think the Commanders is a safe bet, but I think any team that plays Denver is always a safe bet. But that's just me. So,
Yeah, and I
there's
feel like the Giants should be a safe bet, but it
and
just that one's tough. Like it's just when you
but
get 40
the
ball,
cards ain't the Cowboys.
yeah, and that's what you got to really remember.
Yeah.
Listen, when you get 40 ball, it's rough. That's rough.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying for them, I'm sure. But luckily, they're not the Cowboys, so we're the Cards are going to take that L just like they're accustomed to doing. Like I said, they're going on 17. I don't see any hiccups happening now.
Right. That's for sure.
They need that first round pick so they can get rid of Kyler Murray and do whatever they got to do to pay him off because they done ruined the books. So you got to get a rookie now who you can barely pay, and hopefully that he's just going to have it for you and be the resurrection of your franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of funkiness with quarterbacks this year. It's just really not it's not the prettiest of positions. You've seen a lot of downward trends. Look, we lost Aaron Rodgers for the season. Joe Cool looked like boo boo. Allen looked like the Philip Rivers we've been making fun of him for at least a year now,
So he
two
looked
years.
normal. He looked
Yeah,
normal.
typical.
Yeah.
We try to warn you about elbow problems, but nobody wants to listen to that. His arm is not the same, and it's just he's peaked. We have already seen the best of Josh Allen. Rest in peace, sir. It was nice while it lasted. You
Man,
made it competitive. It was cool.
man. Because, yeah, anybody using the word elite when describing Josh Allen, and like I said, it's just still caught up in that media hype. It's all media. Like I said, I have never seen a guy get praised so much for doing literally nothing. Like I
People
said,
still had him number one overall on the list. I've
Mac
seen
Jones
that.
made the Pro Bowl. Josh Allen didn't.
Well,
Mac, Mac
I don't
Jones.
know. He might have just
Mac
turned it down.
Jones. Who?
Who?
Mac Jones.
Who?
Mac
Yeah,
Jones.
that's the Pizer up there in New England. Them Boston boys are wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
That's what my
Yeah.
sister would say. They're wicked
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
Boston.
No, but yeah, excuse me, shoot. But yeah, folks, it's gonna be a massacre. Uh, I don't believe in the cards. Giants should win that handily. I'm just still thinking about it. Like, there's just no way. Saquon, you should go for 200 on the ground almost.
Yeah, for sure. We need them to. We really need them to. But it's going to be an interesting week. Get your bets in, bet safely, and all that. No, if please, if you have a couple of your favorites in the favorites of the week, put them in. Um, Let us know what you're looking for, or even next week, if you want to have some pre predictions, we'll toss those in the comments too, and not forget you. So make sure you check us out. We'll have some more stuff coming this week for you, maybe a couple of reactions and whatnot.
Oh yeah. And make sure that you follow us on Twitter, that you follow us, you like the videos, repost the videos, check us out, help us win some of these arguments with these bogus major media outlets who be watching our shows and taking our takes and try to act like they came up with it, because we've been telling you folks for years the unadulterated truth, and we're gonna keep telling you. Like I said, just shout out to everybody who messes with the BP Bold Prediction Sports Media Podcast. Who was going to say, Mr. Casey?
That's right.
And that's for sure, right on. Like I said, so just shout out to everybody who done made our fan base grow, who rock with us on the daily, and we appreciate y'all. And we're gonna keep this thing growing. We'll have more coming soon. So
You got
now,
it. Absolutely, folks.
good night and goodbye. Where's my boy?